Hello, role-playing people, and in this episode we're going to have a look at the lore of the Celestials, the potential to sense the fate of those around, the ability to communicate with or hurt others through visions, the power to burn a target with white divine flame, and the power to enhance or hijack the evocations of other fallen. This is probably the first lore ever created, and dare I say it is worthy of the first house. It is worthy of those who enforced the divine decrees and will of the giver. It makes the heralds strong, valuable, and inspiring leaders, just as well as it can make them extremely destructive and controlling tyrants. And without further ado, let's get right into the first dot. Lamp of Faith. This evocation allows a devil to detect the presence of mortals and other demons in her vicinity by causing their store of faith to flare up like a beacon that only she can see. Individuals glow with a pale blue light varying in intensity depending on the strength of their faith, while non-living objects lose color, fading into dark silhouettes. System: Role Perception plus Alertness. This evocation affects all living beings within a radius in yards equal to the character's faith. Demons targeted by this evocation and aware of its use can resist its effects with a successful willpower roll, difficulty 8. Extra successes permit the character to detect these beacons of faith through intervening obstacles, allowing the demon to detect hidden individuals as well. Seeing through an interior wall or door requires 1 extra success. Seeing through a brick wall requires 2 extra successes. Seeing past thick metal bulkheads or a vault door might require 3 or more extra successes. This special sight persists for a turn. Torment. Monstrous devils receive the opposite effect of this evocation. Their eyes see only those individuals whose souls have become so hollowed out by their evil acts that they are literal voids of spiritual energy. These soulless individuals, including other demons with a torment of 9 or more, appear to the demon as patches of blackness against the dark background of the physical world. One of the biggest problems a fallen is faced with in the world of demon is that the majority of mortals are faithless, spiritual voids of indifference. Ravaging humans for faith is an effective but dirty and torment-inducing ordeal, so the best way to get your faith is by making a pact. But how do you know which mortals are faithful and which are not? Well, with this lore, the devils always know who is suitable, and thus they can spare themselves and their associates a lot of time wasted on trying to make pacts with all the wrong people. When a devil makes a pact, you can be certain it's going to pay off, because they can just find faithful mortals. The fact that this power works through walls or other visual obstacles is just amazing in any instance in which a devil needs to see beyond physical sight, like during a stealth mission where they can keep track of living beings and their movements within a certain range even through walls, or during a calamity, when there's flame and smoke, debris and dust all around and no one can see anything. The heroic devil can find those trapped survivors who might otherwise be lost without divine intervention. The experienced devil might use this evocation very strategically to keep track of their rivals' stores of faith, striking them when they are almost depleted and at their most vulnerable. The High Torment power still has its uses, as you can probably find the people who are easiest to manipulate through mundane means because of their spiritual corruption, or at least keep away from those who might prevent you from using more visible celestial abilities, because that can happen when the fallen are in the presence of the spiritually devoid. So this is a great power to have at first dot because it gives the player character so much information, and as we know, knowledge is power. Second dot. Send Vision. In their former role as the creator's divine heralds, the Namaru were often called upon to convey God's messages across the length and breadth of the cosmos, delivering heaven's commands as potent visions that fill the Celestial's mind with images of majesty and wonder. After the fall, the devils still made extensive use of this lore, communicating detailed orders to their subordinates in the rebel host, or smiting their foes with frightening visions of infernal wrath. System: role manipulation plus expression. Devils may use this evocation to send complex instructions to fellow demons at the speed of thought. Unlike an invocation, this vision fills the recipient's mind like an illusion or a waking dream, playing out whatever scene the sender wishes to convey in the blink of an eye. The amount of information the sender can convey depends on the number of successes generated by your roll. Each success allows the sender to describe one turn's worth of action. For example, if a devil wishes to instruct one of her fellow demons to go outside, get in the car, and start the engine, the player would need 3 successes to fully convey her instructions. These instructions can be shared simultaneously to a number of individuals equal to your character's faith. These visions can be sent only to recipients within the sender's line of sight, and the power may be used on mortals and demons alike. Torment. Monstrous demons use this evocation to shock or frighten their foes in battle. The sender can affect a number of targets equal to her faith as long as they are within her line of sight. Each success generated by your roll inflicts a level of bashing damage against the targets as they are struck with terrifying visions of the devil's wrath. Unlike normal bashing damage, this mental assault cannot be soaked. If the evocation inflicts more levels of bashing damage than the target's wits, the target must make a successful willpower roll, difficulty 8, or suffer a temporary derangement. Just imagine a busy dance floor, a dissonant and chaotic shower of spotlights, of the flailing of glow sticks and the twisting and squirming of excited, sweat-covered bodies radiating heat. You can feel the bass booming hypnotically through your thighs and chest. The euphoria is taking you out of your head when suddenly you see in your mind's eye the determined face of a person you've never seen before. You have what feels like a premonition of people on the dance floor pulling out knives and stabbing you as they grin malevolently and laugh at your pain. Then the vision shows you the exit sign to your left and the white soothing light just beyond that doorway. You instinctively look to the balcony above the dance floor and you see the face from your vision looking down at you, gesturing you to move urgently, move now. But you are too slow and someone from the crowd whips you into a chokehold. You try to fight them off, but they are behind you, bearing down with all their weight, so you can't do a thing about it as you're brought to your knees and your vision begins to go black. The punching vibrations of the bass and the cheers of excited dancers begin to fade from your senses as you are just about to pass out in silence. You feel the grip release. Slowly coming to your senses, you find yourself surrounded by not 1 but 4 attackers who are now fallen to their knees, clutching their heads while howling in agony and terror. The people on the dance floor simply keep on partying without a care, making their repetitive robotic motions. As you flee towards the fire door and the exit sign, you receive another vision of nothing more than a purple doormat that says, "Welcome," and realize you have been saved by the individual from the balcony. Need I go on? Probably not. Sending visions of your own making to a number of targets equal to your faith rating anywhere within your line of sight and being able to inflict unsoakable psychic bashing damage at the cost of 1 temporary torment point anywhere within line of sight? Amazing. This is simply amazing. Third dot. Pillar of Faith. Throughout the birth of the cosmos and the early days of paradise, the heralds were at the forefront of every major effort mandated by heaven, bolstering the energies of other celestials wherever necessary. System: role manipulation plus leadership. This evocation allows the devil to add her faith to the efforts of another, as long as the devil knows the demon's celestial or true name and can draw a line of sight to him. Each success adds a bonus die to the target's next evocation roll. The devil cannot provide more bonus dice than her permanent faith score, and if the recipient's roll botches, he still loses a point of faith as normal. The user of Pillar of Faith does not lose any faith when lending it. Repeated use of this evocation on a single target does not cause bonus dice to accumulate. Torment. Monstrous demons may use this evocation only to block or negate the effects of another. This phenomenon works like any other resisted dice roll, with the devil's successes negating any successes generated by her opponent. Again, the devil must know the target's celestial or true name to perform this evocation. See? This is why heralds are valuable leaders and allies. They don't just sit around issuing orders. Oh no, they can genuinely make things better for those around them by assisting their efforts, like making another's evocations stronger. Having felt the effects of this power during one of our demon games, I can wholeheartedly say it works like a charm and it makes all the difference. Best of all, it costs nothing, not even a point of faith, so your character can enhance the evocations of others as often as they want. The Torment version allows your character to break the efforts of another, to shatter their faith in their own abilities and evocations, and that is why it is both painfully forceful and worthy of earning the character a temporary point of torment as you basically shamelessly deny others their divine right over their lores. Next dot. The Fire of Heaven. This evocation allows the devil to channel her faith as a withering blast of pure white fire, smiting her target with the wrath of a fallen angel. System. Spend 1 faith point and roll dexterity plus athletics. The character may target any individual or object within a range in yards equal to her faith score. Each success generated by the roll inflicts 1 level of aggravated damage. Torment. Monstrous demons are unable to focus the fiery power of their faith in a concentrated bolt. It erupts from them in all directions as a storm of raging energy instead. When a High Torment demon uses this evocation, the infernal fire strikes everything within a number of yards equal to the character's permanent faith score. The blast inflicts 1 level of aggravated damage per success to everything in this radius. Alright, so being able to shoot aggravated fire damage at the target, beautiful. You can't go wrong with that. Losing control of that flame in your torment and pain, potentially destroying everything around just so you can hurt the object of your anger, or maybe unwillingly using the torment version of this evocation because your human host just drowns you in emotions like fear or frustration. Now that is superbly dramatic. In terms of NPCs using this evocation, just imagine being on the hunt for a Ravener devil and going from location to location trying to figure out a pattern to their destruction and stop them before they do it again, but you are always 1 step behind, and every time you arrive on the scene, it's the same old tale. A circular pattern scorched into the earth or into the floors, ashes all around, fragments of bone, some of the scorched marks are on the ceiling as well, and this is clearly done by some kind of fire. But how is it that it didn't spread? It burned insanely hot and extremely fast, and then it just stopped. Mortal authorities are baffled, but you know this is the work of a devil who is currently being devoured by their torment, if they aren't already lost completely. Last dot. Hand of Faith. The mandate of the first celestial house was to act as the voice of the Creator and to ensure that his grand design was fulfilled within the bounds of angelic free will. If one of the celestials deviated too far from the Creator's design in the process of creation, the heralds were able to manipulate the evocation as it happened, modifying the outcome to within acceptable limits. Although this mandate was only rarely enforced, this evocation, more than any other, spawned the tendency of other houses to jealously guard their prerogatives and regard the heralds with no small amount of resentment. System: spend 1 faith point and roll manipulation plus leadership. Hand of Faith allows a devil to usurp another celestial's evocation, directing its effects as she desires. You must generate more successes on your faith roll than the player of the demon performing this evocation, and your character must know the initiator's celestial or true name. If successful, the devil can alter the evocation's target and its effects as if she were the one using the power. If the devil does not roll enough successes to seize control of the evocation, the attempt fails, and the evocation proceeds as originally intended. When used in combat, the devil must have a higher initiative than the demon performing the evocation. Hand of Faith cannot be performed as a reflexive action. Torment. Monstrous demons are not able to manipulate other demons' evocations, but they can cause evocations targeted at them to rebound and affect their initiators. Again, you must generate more successes on your roll than the demon performing the evocation in order to succeed. If successful, apply the effects of the evocation against the initiator. If the evocation has an area of effect, center it on the initiator. The devil must know the initiator's celestial or true name to perform this evocation. Alright, despite the restrictions like needing higher initiative and needing to know at least a celestial name, this evocation can do amazing things. For example, being able to banish unsuspecting targets to the low umbra by hijacking the Slayer's Lore of the Realms, being able to redirect both destructive as well as beneficial effects, right? So you can steal healing, you can inflict disease onto someone, you can steal a new face for yourself when someone is using the Lore of Transfiguration, or, one of my favorites, turn a Devourer's army of beasts against them. And then you can just lean back and watch them being torn apart by their own creations. Alright, these are only a few examples. You can do a lot of things with this one. Now that we've gone through the evocations dot by dot, we also need to look at the apocalyptic form this lore bestows. Since it's a house lore, it can be a character's primary, and the Visage is Bel, the Visage of the Celestials. The apocalyptic form of the lore of the Celestials reveals the fallen as a luminous lordly angel, radiating divine grandeur and authority. Her skin literally glows, wreathing her in an aura of golden light that shifts in intensity depending on her mood. Her eyes blaze with the cold light of the stars. Despite her actual physical appearance, the fallen seems to tower over everyone around her. The Visage of Celestials confers the following abilities. Wings. A pair of eagle's wings extend from the character's shoulders. At full extension, each wing is a third again as long as the character is tall. The character can glide up to 3 times her running speed per turn. Lordly Mien. The character's aura of divine authority lowers the difficulty of her charisma and manipulation rolls by 2. This is amazing. Enhanced senses. The character's 5 senses are heightened to superhuman levels, lowering the difficulty of her perception rolls by 2. Increased awareness. The fallen is especially attuned to the fabric of reality, lowering the difficulty of all awareness rolls by 2. Torment. As the character loses herself to her dark nature, her authority remains as strong as ever, but the glow that suffused her dims to a sullen red. Her wings turn leathery and her eyes become as black as the void. Where she was once a vision of nobility, she now carries herself as a tyrant. The Visage of Celestials confers the following High Torment abilities. Claws and Teeth. The character manifests claws and fangs that inflict strength plus 2 aggravated damage. Scales. The character's skin is covered in dark, lustrous scales that provide 4 dice of armor protection against physical attacks. Quick mention here, according to the player's guide errata, this includes aggravated damage, so it's just great. increased size. The character's body grows to a third again its normal height, adding the following bonus traits: +1 to strength, +2 to dexterity, and +1 to stamina. Dread Gaze. Individuals, mortal or demon, who meet the demon's gaze and who fail a willpower roll difficulty 7 must forfeit their actions for the turn. So remember those awesome evocations that made use of charisma, manipulation, perception, and the innate powers of the fallen that are based off of awareness? Yeah, -2 difficulty on all of those when assuming your apocalyptic form, either fully or partially. So now, to add dice to another's evocation pool, you roll at the difficulty of 4. To send mind-shattering visions that inflict unsoakable, bashing damage, you roll at a difficulty of 4. To sense another's stores of faith, difficulty 4. Reduction of difficulty is almost always better than increased dice pool because it gives you more chances to succeed and to a higher degree. So that is just great. But mechanics and rules aside, both the apocalyptic form and the evocations allow for meaningful interactions and very creative and effective uses. To conclude, I love this lore. I think it really captures the flavor of the first house and makes a devil's contributions to any group of characters truly remarkable as a leader or companion or strategist or support. Alright, let's just go over the list again really quickly and see what this lore allows. It allows perceiving the faith of those around even when physical visibility is blocked, communicating with anyone within line of sight through telepathic visions or harming them using the same visions, enhancing or usurping another's evocations, igniting one's own faith and burning either one target or everything around with divine white fire, and lastly, hijacking another's evocations or reflecting the effects right back at their evoker. Awesome. The apocalyptic form further complements all of these lores and makes them easier to use, enhancing the character's charisma, manipulation, perception, and awareness, and bestowing a set of eagle wings which allows the character to glide rapidly. This works amazingly well in conjunction with the lore of the fundament. The High Torment forms bestow impressive physicality, protecting the fallen from aggravated damage or allowing them to inflict horrific injuries. Well, that is, if the character's dread gaze doesn't just make a target freeze in horror before they can even make a move. It is amazing, this lore right here. Alright, thank you very much for listening. Take care, have fun, and don't forget to play.